What is this supposed to be? Mrs. Crawford held up the painting with 2 fingers, like it was garbage, like it was nothing. 13-year-old Elijah watched in horror as his teacher showed his artwork to the entire class. Class, come look at this. This is what happens when you waste time instead of following instructions. She laughed, and one by one, the students laughed with her. Elijah wanted to disappear. That painting wasn't just homework. It was his heart. It was his soul. It was everything he couldn't say with words, and she was laughing at it. The assignment was simple. Paint something that represents your family. Most students painted stick figures, houses with triangle roofs, smiling faces holding hands. But Elijah painted something different. He painted a woman sitting alone in a hospital room, tired eyes, worn hands, but still smiling. It was his mother. She had been fighting cancer for 2 years. She couldn't work anymore. She could barely walk. But every single night, she told Elijah the same thing. Baby, you're going to be great. I believe in you. Elijah painted her because she was his hero. He poured hours into every detail. The texture of her skin, the light in her eyes, the strength in her smile. It was the most beautiful thing he had ever created. And Mrs. Crawford was holding it up like a joke. This is too dark, Mrs. Crawford said. Art should be happy, bright. This looks like something from a horror movie. The laughter grew louder. A boy in the back yelled, "Did you paint a zombie?" More laughter. Elijah's eyes filled with tears. "It's my mother," he whispered. Mrs. Crawford didn't hear him. Or maybe she didn't care. "Elijah, I'm giving you a D. This is not what I asked for. Next time, follow instructions." She tossed the painting onto his desk. The corner bent. The paint smeared. Something inside Elijah broke. He grabbed the painting and ran out of class. He didn't stop running until he reached the bathroom. He locked himself in the stall, and he cried until he couldn't breathe. That night, Elijah came home with red eyes. His mother was lying on the couch, too weak to stand, but strong enough to notice. "Baby, what happened?" Elijah didn't want to tell her. She had enough pain already, but she kept asking, softly, gently, until he finally broke down. He told her everything. The laughter, the D grade, the way Mrs. Crawford looked at his painting like it was trash. His mother was quiet for a long moment. Then she reached out her hand. "Can I see it?" Elijah hesitated. "It's ruined. The corner is bent. Can I see it anyway?" He handed it to her. She held it up, her eyes filled with tears. Not tears of sadness, tears of wonder. "Baby, this is beautiful." Mrs. Crawford said it was too dark. Mrs. Crawford doesn't understand what real art is. She pulled him close. "Real art makes people feel something. And this makes me feel everything." She held his face. "Don't you ever stop painting. You hear me? Don't you ever let anyone take this gift from you." Elijah wiped his tears. "I won't, Mama. I promise." It was a promise that would change his life forever. 3 months later, Elijah's mother passed away. Cancer took her body, but it couldn't take her words. "Don't you ever stop painting." Elijah heard them every morning, every night, every time he picked up a brush. He painted through his grief. He painted through his anger. He painted through the loneliness. Art became his therapy, his voice, his survival. He entered local competitions and won. He submitted work to galleries and got noticed. By 16, he had sold his first painting. By 18, he had a scholarship to the best art school in the country. By 21, he graduated top of his class. And by 22, Elijah became the youngest artist ever featured in the National Museum of Modern Art. His exhibition was called Mama's Light. 30 paintings, all inspired by his mother. And hanging in the center of the room, the same painting Mrs. Crawford had called Too Dark, the one with the bent corner, the one she gave a D. Now it was worth $150,000, and people from around the world came to see it. The exhibition was exclusive, limited tickets, $1,000 each. They sold out in 3 hours. Celebrities came, art critics came, news cameras came, but there was one guest Elijah didn't expect. A woman in her 60s walked into the museum. Gray hair, nervous eyes. She looked familiar. Elijah couldn't place her at first, until she stopped in front of the center painting and started crying. It was Mrs. Crawford. Elijah watched from across the room. He felt everything: anger, confusion, pain. He walked toward her slowly. She didn't notice him at first. She was too busy staring at the painting. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Elijah said quietly. She turned around, and her face went pale. "Elijah." "Hello, Mrs. Crawford." She couldn't speak. Her hands were trembling. "I didn't know it was you. I didn't know this was. I didn't." She started sobbing. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." Elijah stood there, silent, watching his former teacher fall apart. "I was cool to you," she cried. "I laughed at this painting. I laughed at something you made with your heart, and I've regretted it every single day." She looked at him with broken eyes. "When I heard about this exhibition, I didn't know it was you. I just wanted to see the artist everyone was talking about. I paid $1,000 for a ticket, and then I walked in and I saw this." She pointed to the painting. "I recognized it immediately. The same painting I called too dark. The same painting I gave AD. The same painting that's now worth more than I'll ever make." She fell to her knees. "I'm so sorry, Elijah. I was wrong. I was so wrong." Elijah looked at her for a long time. He remembered the humiliation, the laughter, the tears in the bathroom stall. He remembered how small she made him feel, how worthless, how invisible. But he also remembered his mother's words: "Don't let anyone take this gift from you." She didn't. Mrs. Crawford tried, but she failed. Elijah knelt down until he was eye level with her. "Mrs. Crawford, you hurt me. Deeply. You took something sacred and made it a joke. I carried that pain for years." She nodded, tears streaming. "But if you hadn't laughed at me that day, I don't know if I would have fought this hard. Your doubt became my fuel. Your cruelty became my fire." He stood up. "I don't forgive you yet. I'm not there. But I don't hate you either. Because hating you would give you too much power. And you don't deserve that." He pointed to the painting. "My mother is the reason I'm standing here. Not you. She believed in me when you didn't. And she was right." He turned to walk away, then stopped. "Mrs. Crawford, I hope you learned something today." "I did," she whispered. "I did." Elijah nodded, and he walked away, head high, heart free. That night, the exhibition made national news. Critics called it a masterpiece of grief and hope. Elijah was interviewed by every major network. They asked him about his inspiration, his journey, his mother, and they asked him about the teacher, the one who laughed, the one who showed up in tears. Elijah said, "She taught me something important. Not about art, about people. Some people will never see your value until the rest of the world does. Don't wait for their approval. Don't need their validation. Just keep creating. Keep believing. Keep going." He paused. "The same painting she laughed at is now behind glass in a museum. That's not revenge. That's purpose. And purpose will always outlast cruelty." Elijah went on to become one of the most celebrated artists of his generation. He opened art schools for underprivileged children. He gave scholarships to students who were told they weren't talented enough. And every single school had the same sign on the door: "Your art matters. Your voice matters. You matter." Mrs. Crawford never taught again. She retired that same year. She volunteers now at an after-school art program. She never laughs at students' work anymore. She asks what it means instead. She learned her lesson, the hard way, but she learned. And the painting, the one with the bent corner, Elijah never sold it. It's not in a museum anymore. It hangs in his living room, right next to a photo of his mother. Because that painting was never about Mrs. Crawford. It was never about the D-grade. It was never about revenge. It was about love, a son's love for his mother. And no amount of laughter could ever take that away. If you're watching this and someone has laughed at your dreams, if someone has told you you're not good enough, If someone has made you feel like your art, your voice, your gift is worthless, I need you to hear this. They are wrong. They are small. They can't see what you carry because their eyes aren't open. Keep creating. Keep dreaming. Keep going. Because one day, the same people who laughed at you will pay to see your greatness. And you'll be too busy shining to notice.